Welcome to Late Night Horror Stories and True Crime. Tonight, we're heading deep into the shadowy forests of Humboldt County, into a place the locals call Murder Mountain. Most people think the danger up there comes from drug cartels and missing hikers. But that's not the whole story. There's something ancient in those woods, something that watches, something that waits for the blood moon. So gather close, lock your doors, and join us for a tale of isolation, terror, and survival. They said the work was easy. Clip, dry, bag. Cash under the table, no questions. I needed it, bad. After I got out of the army, I drifted. Colorado, Nevada. Didn't matter. Every place bled into the next. When I hit Humboldt County, I was down to my last 20. Someone at a diner in Garberville told me about trimming jobs up on Murder Mountain. Stay a few weeks, leave with $5,000, he said. So I took the ride. The road wound higher through thick redwoods and low-hanging fog. No cell service, just trees that looked older than sin. A guy named Darren drove, some skinny kid with bad tattoos and a blunt in his mouth. We picked up 2 girls on the way, Rain and Lexi, both with that burnt-out Kali look, like they'd seen too much, too young. We finally pulled up to a rusted gate with a hand-painted sign, private property, no visitors. Below that, scratched into the wood, do not stay out after dark. Cute, Darren muttered, swinging it open. The grow house sat farther up, tucked behind trees like it was hiding. It wasn't much, just a sagging A-frame cabin with boards over some of the windows and a porch that leaned left. There were drying racks already set up and the stench of fresh bud thick in the air. The boss was waiting. Uncle Seth, they called him. Gray beard, stained Carhartt jacket, eyes like river stones. He didn't say much, just pointed us to our bunks and told us we'd start in the morning. That night we ate ramen, passed a bottle around, and made awkward introductions. Darren talked the most. He used to trim in Oregon, claimed to have seen a Bigfoot once. Rain barely spoke. Lexi kept reading some beat-up science fiction paperback. Seth sat in the corner, sipping from a metal flask, staring at the fire like it owed him something. Then we heard it. A howl. Low. Distant. Not coyote. Not even close. Like it came from something with lungs the size of a bear. We all stopped talking. Seth didn't even flinch. Just leaned back and said, "Old dog's out early." "The what?" Lexi asked. He didn't answer, just took another drink and said, "Lock the doors tonight. Don't open them for nothing." No one laughed. Later in bed, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. No moon, no stars. Just trees swaying and that uneasy pressure in the air, like the mountain itself was watching us. I've been in war zones, slept through mortar fire and desert winds. But that first night on Murder Mountain, I didn't sleep at all. I woke up to birds screaming in the trees. Rain was already up, sitting on the porch steps, hoodie pulled tight. Lexi was boiling instant coffee inside. Darren was nowhere. Saw him go out to piss around 4, Rain said. Never came back. I stepped off the porch and scanned the woods. Fog hung low and thick, curling around the trees like smoke. I called his name. No answer, just the birds. We split up and searched. Half a mile out near a ridge, I saw something red in the leaves. At first, I thought it was trash. One of his stupid t-shirts, maybe, but then I saw the torn fabric soaked in blood, drag marks. Something had been pulled through the dirt, deep grooves, big ones. I followed it. My heart beat louder with every step. About 30 yards downhill I stopped. There was a patch of flattened earth, grass matted, ground torn, blood everywhere, not splatter, not a gunshot wound, ripped, chunks of meat, tufts of hair, pieces of Darren. Lexi threw up behind me. Rain stood frozen, eyes glassy. I don't think she blinked for a full minute. Bear, Lexi said, weak. No bear did that, I muttered. No bear on earth is capable of this. When we got back, Seth was already loading a shotgun. You knew, I said. He didn't deny it. I told you all to stay inside. This mountain ain't right. Every few years it wakes up, starts hunting. Hunting? Rain echoed. Seth lit a cigarette with shaking hands. They call it the old dog of the woods. Local legend. Thing's been around since before white folk settled here. It comes when the blood moon rises. Lexi looked outside. That's tonight. He nodded. 3 nights total. Last night was the first. You mean there's 2 more of these? I asked. I told you. Lock the doors, nail the windows, whatever it is, it doesn't stop until the moon fades. Rain walked out back, came back with a hatchet and a bundle of wooden planks. We boarded up the doors, covered the windows. Seth passed out flashlights, ammo, even a flare gun. Night fell hard. The wind picked up and the fog returned, thicker than ever. The trees vanished in it. We sat in a tight circle, everyone armed, watching the door. Around midnight we heard movement, slow crunching in the leaves. Then silence. Then something scratched the siding, long, deep, like claws. No one spoke. No one moved. Seth raised the shotgun. Something heavy brushed past the window, fast. Lexi gasped. Then, a howl. Not far. Not deep in the woods this time. It was close. Right outside. We didn't sleep after what happened to Darren. Seth sat by the fireplace the rest of the day, loading and unloading shells into his shotgun like prayer beads. He wasn't scared. Not exactly. He looked tired, like a man who's seen a monster before and knows it'll come again. By dusk, the cabin felt like a trap. We'd boarded up the windows with whatever we could find. Scrap wood, closet doors, even an old cabinet split in 2. The front door had 3 chairs braced against it. There was only one way in, and we'd made damn sure it wouldn't be easy. Lexi barely talked. She just kept pacing. Rain was quieter. But I noticed she kept that hatchet in her hand even while sipping tea. Smart. I tried to act calm. I'd fought in villages with IEDs buried in the sand. I'd slept in alleyways with nothing but a bayonet and a prayer. But something about this place, the way the woods pressed in on all sides, how quiet everything got after dark, set me on edge. Seth finally spoke, just after sundown. It's worse on the second night. I looked up. Why? He didn't meet my eyes. Because now it knows where we are. We heard it around 11:30, not a howl this time. Breathing. Heavy. Deep. It came from the tree line just beyond the cabin. Then a creak, floorboards on the porch, slow steps, one at a time. Then silence. We froze. The front door thumped once, like something was testing it. Then again, harder. Then, a long, deep scratch. It dragged its claws across the boards we'd nailed up, wood splintered, not broken but stressed, like whatever was out there could get in, if it really wanted to. Rain whispered, "I can smell it." She was right. The air inside turned foul, not rot, not garbage, meat, hot and wet and rotting. Lexi raised her rifle. Seth chambered around. Then the thing moved to the back of the cabin, fast. We heard it crash against the bathroom window. Then the roof. Something scraped its way across the shingles. I ran to the back hallway, my pistol drawn. Suddenly, bang. A board in the kitchen window snapped clean in half. The muzzle of the rifle cracked next to me. Lexi fired through the window, screaming. I ran to her. "Did you hit it?" I don't know. Something moved," she stammered, her face pale and glistening with sweat. The wind outside picked up, but through it we could still hear it circling. No more stealth, no more patience. It was getting angry. Then it stopped. Dead silence, no movement, just the crackling fire and our breathing. "Where's Seth?" Rain said suddenly. We all turned. His shotgun was still leaning against the wall. His coat was gone. The back door, our emergency exit, hung slightly ajar. A smear of blood trailed out from it, disappearing into the night. "No," Lexi whispered. "No. No, no." I grabbed the shotgun and ran to the door. Nothing out there, just trees and fog. But I knew what happened. The bastard went out there. Or worse, something got in and took him. We didn't speak for a long time after Seth vanished. Just sat there, me, Lexi, and Rain, staring at the back door like maybe he'd walk back through, say it was all some mistake. But no one comes back after the old dog takes them. That's what Seth said. When the sun rose, we nailed the door shut with what was left of the boards. The flare gun sat on the table, 4 shots left. The rifle had 5 rounds. My pistol had 6. Rain's hatchet hadn't left her hand in 12 hours. We didn't eat, didn't sleep, just waited. Rain finally broke the silence. "It's not going to wait another night. It knows we're weak. It's going to finish this." Lexi shook her head. "We should run while it's light out." "We're 6 miles from the road," I said. "On foot. No radio, no signal. You really think we'll make it through those woods before sundown?" She didn't answer. I looked at Rain. "If we leave, we're prey. In here, at least we have walls." "Walls didn't stop it from taking Seth," she said quietly. By late afternoon, the wind changed. The fog that usually rolled in with dusk never came. The sky stayed clear, and for the first time since we'd arrived, we saw it. The blood moon. High, full, and rust-colored. It looked like it was watching us. Lexi snapped. She stood up suddenly, grabbed her backpack and said, "I'm not dying in this cabin, I'm not. I don't care what's out there." "Don't be stupid," I said. "You don't understand," she said, tears in her eyes. "I've been running my whole life. From men, from pain, from drugs. If something's going to kill me, I'd rather be running than waiting." She opened the door and bolted before I could stop her. I yelled after her. Rain grabbed my arm. "No," she said, "let her go." We stood at the threshold, staring into the woods. About a minute passed, 2. Then a scream, a terrible one, cut short. Like something had torn the air from her lungs mid-breath. And then silence again. Rain didn't cry. She just pulled the flare gun off the table and said, "We fight." That night we braced everything we could. Pushed the table and fridge against the front door. Lit candles, since the power was long gone. I had the shotgun. She had the flare. My sidearm was tucked in my waistband. At 2:14 a.m. it came. First, the scratching again. Then something slammed against the front. Hard. A snarl tore through the cracks louder than anything we'd heard before. It knew it was the last night, and it wasn't playing anymore. The door blew open like matchsticks. Rain fired the flare, lighting the room in hellish red as the creature ducked through the doorway. It was worse up close. Massive. Black fur soaked in blood. Its face looked more human than animal. Twisted, jaws stretched far too wide, with a glistening pink tongue, licking broken teeth. Its hands, yes, hands, had claws as long as carving knives. It knocked the table aside like nothing. I fired the shotgun point blank into its chest. It stumbled back, roared, then lunged. Rain threw the hatchet. It caught in its shoulder. The beast howled and swiped her across the room. She hit the wall hard and didn't get up. I emptied my pistol into its face. Blood sprayed. It jerked and thrashed, roaring in frustration. Then staggered backward, back into the night, growling and clawing at the dirt. I didn't chase it. I just dragged Rain into the back room, barricaded what was left of the door, and waited for the sky to change. By morning, the moon had vanished. The sun broke over the trees. A new sound came with it. Engines, trucks, deputies. Someone must have heard the shots. Or maybe Rain got a flare into the air I hadn't seen. They found me sitting on the porch, with her head in my lap, bruised but breathing. They asked what happened. I told them the truth. And they told me to forget it. Said it was a bear, or maybe a bad trip. Offered me a hot meal and a ride back to town. I took the ride. They said it was a bear, a rogue black bear, likely starving, probably diseased, maybe rabid. That's what the sheriff called it. That's what the incident report would say. The missing people, the blood, the wrecked cabin, all chalked up to a wild animal. I didn't argue. There was nothing left of Darren, nothing of Seth. And Lexi, they never even found her body. Just blood on the pine needles and a shoe stuck in a tree like it had been thrown there. Rain spent 4 days in the hospital. Cracked ribs, a concussion, some deep bruises. She said she didn't remember anything. Maybe that was true. Maybe she didn't want to. They gave me a blanket and a bus ticket. Told me to get some rest. Told me to move on. But I can't. Because I saw it. And I remember everything. That thing wasn't just a creature. It hunted like a man. Waited. Watched. Knew when we were weakest. It didn't feed because it had to. It chose to. I started digging after that. News clippings. Missing persons. Local legends. And it's always the same. Campers go missing every couple years. Growers vanish. Sometimes the cops look into it. But they always come up empty. And always it's around the time of the blood moon. Locals have a name for it. The old dog of the woods. Some say it's a cursed soul, a skinwalker. Others say it's something older. Something that's been here since before this land had roads. Doesn't matter what you call it, it's real. And it's still out there. I don't sleep much anymore. I hear things now. Whispers in the trees, growls in the wind. Sometimes I wake up thinking I'm still back in that cabin, that I'll open my eyes and see it at the door, staring at me through the cracks. I moved as far away from the woods as I could. No more remote jobs, no more cabins. But I still watch the moon, and when it turns red again, I lock my doors. Because the mountain remembers. And one day, the old dog might come down looking for me. Thank you for joining us on Late Night Horror Stories and True Crime. If you enjoyed tonight's tale, be sure to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss what's lurking in the dark. And if you would be so kind as to let us know what type of horror stories scare you the most, so we can continue to provide the fuel for your nightmares. And remember, some legends never die, especially on Murder Mountain. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep your lights on